September 10th, 2024. This is the pre-bid conference for RFQ, or really actually RFP. I need to fix that. 184945 for the Construction and Demolition Department Abatement Services. Let me also share my screen. There we go. And my name is Jamila Watkins. I'm with the City of Detroit Office of Contracting. Okay, thank you very much, Tanya. Office of Contracting and Procurement. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to my manager, Eric Cooper.
Good morning, Eric Cooper, Service Level Manager for the Construction and Demolition Department, Office of Contracting and Procurement.
Thank you. And I'll turn it over now to Nick Payne from Construction and Demolition.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nick Payne, Planning and Strategy with the Construction and Demolition Department.
Al?
Yeah, my name's Al Dyer. I'm the Environmental Due Diligence Manager with the Construction and Demolition Department.
Tim?
Tim Pelzolo, Deputy Director of Construction and Demolition Department.
And Robert?
Hi, GIS Data Manager for Construction and Demolition Department.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So I've shared my screen. Can you verify that you all can see my screen with the PowerPoint presentation? Excellent. Thank you, Nick. So let me go to the next one. So we've already done our introductions. You have already signed in the chat. Thank you very much, Tanya. If you could also provide your email in the chat, that would be great. So what we're going to do, we're going to just give a quick overview for this conference call. I'm going to go over some key information from the RFP, including the timeline and the key response items. And then I'm going to hand it over to the Construction and Demolition Department. So just to restate, this call is being recorded. If you do have a question or need to speak, please state your name and the company or organization that you represent. All bidders are encouraged to ask questions. You may enter them into the chat at any time. And of course, there's going to be time at the end of this presentation where we'll allow questions. All verbal responses to questions provided today are unofficial until they're documented in writing as an official response in the supplier portal. You can submit any additional questions in the supplier portal, and we will respond to all bidders via the supplier portal. The project background is the following. The City of Detroit Office of Contracting and Procurement, OCP, on behalf of the Construction and Demolition Department, CDD, requests proposals from qualified respondents to render certain technical or professional services as set forth in this RFP to provide the abatement of hazardous regulated materials to perform abatement services. So the timeline is as follows. The remaining dates are that questions are going to be due Tuesday, September 17th by 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you have 1 week. All questions, again, must be submitted through the supplier portal, and all questions and answers are going to be published by Tuesday, the 24th. If we need more time, we'll let you know. Proposals are due Monday, October 7th, 2024 by 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also just want to point out that your portal must be set to Eastern Standard Time. You need to verify that well in advance of the questions due date and the proposal due date. Eastern Standard is not the default setting, so you will have to manually set your portal for Eastern Standard Time. Work schedule, the work will begin pending City Council approval and the issuance of a PO. And we really cannot provide any hard dates. Everything is subject to our approval stream. So just so that's clear. The evaluation criteria are as follows: previous experience and references, capacity, and price. Those three are weighted at 30 points, 20 points, and 15 points. And each of the attachments listed next to those criteria, the bullet points, are where each of those criteria are going to be detailed out by the respondent. There was a discrepancy in the RFP between the points in the table and the points and the bullet points, but I'm going to fix that RFP document and republish it later today. Additionally, points can be earned for having a Detroit headquartered business or Detroit-based business certification for the prime contractor, and there can also be points awarded for subcontractors having the same certifications. You'll see that the maximum points allowed for each of those certifications is going to be either 15 or 20 respectively. And just a reminder for you to include any certifications that you may have with your proposal by the due date, or you will not receive credit for those certifications. The required proposal content and format is on the following 2 pages. This is found in the RFP. I just want to point out the letter of transmittal that's going to introduce your company must contain a statement that your proposal is good for 120 days. These are all the items that need to be completed, and I'm going to detail that. Also, number 15, certificate of insurance. You want to particularly pay attention to the model professional services contract, which is going to give you your insurance requirements. If you can provide your certificate of insurance with your proposal, it's helpful. It's not a requirement though, but it's helpful. And I just have a note here. Please confirm the accuracy and completeness of your proposal before submitting. So it is the respondent's responsibility to make sure all your documentation is correct and complete before you submit it, because we are not, the Office of Contracting and Procurement is not obligated to reach out to you if anything is missing or incorrect. So please note that. And then finally, for me, the RFP attachments list is found on the last page of the RFP. And what I've done here is highlight in red everything that the respondent is responsible for completing and returning. So please note that all of these documents must be completed and returned. Some do require notarization. So that's all for my portion. And at this point, I'm going to hand it over to construction and demolition.
All right, good morning, and thank you all again for joining and participating in this pre-bid. As stated, it is the intent of this RFP to solicit qualified vendors to provide abatement of hazardous and regulated materials in order to perform safe demolitions and renovations throughout the city of Detroit. The minimum qualifications for this RFP, your company must have 5 years of experience providing abatement services of a similar scope and size. You must provide information demonstrating that you have performed 20 planned abatements on residential properties within the city of Detroit over the last 5 years. You must provide information demonstrating you have performed 5 planned commercial abatements within the city of Detroit over the last 5 years. And you must provide 5 professional references of your previous experience over the last 5 years from the date of the RFP published date. In addition, you must employ qualified personnel to perform and execute any and all aspects of these services. Personnel must possess all necessary accreditations, licenses, endorsements, and certifications. This will include, but is not limited to, a valid state of Michigan abatement contractor's license. All field workers must have current and valid MIOSHA accreditations, and at least one field worker must possess a valid state of Michigan asbestos inspector license. In addition to the state of Michigan licenses, respondents must submit their lab's National Voluntary Laboratory Accreditation Program accreditation in response to this RFP. Respondents must possess extensive knowledge of all applicable federal, state, and local regulation, and they must possess a strong and positive relationship with state and local regulators. This should include EGLE, MIOSHA, BSEED, and the Construction Demolition Department. The contract length, we intend for the contracts to be awarded under this RFP to be 3 years long, and it is our intent to make approximately 3 awards as a result of this RFP. However, we do reserve the right to award as many or as few at our sole discretion. As Jamila pointed out, the RFP, you'll see it's kind of divided into two sections. You have your exhibits, which are to provide you with information about the services we're requesting and how we're going to be requesting them. And then we have our attachments, which are documents that we expect be completed and included with your proposals. We'll start with the exhibits. Exhibit A is our scope of service document that we expect all respondents to review and familiarize yourself with intently. The scope of service is divided. Jamila, I see you have your hand raised.
Nick, were you intending to share your screen, or is this?
Yeah, I'll share my screen in probably
Okay.
just a second.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So the scope of service is divided into a few categories, particularly starting at section 3. The first section is pre-abatement due diligence. You'll be responsible for all documentation and information review prior to beginning any work on site. In addition, you're responsible for any and all applicable notification requirements, including your NESHAP notifications with the state. The next section speaks to pre-abatement site visits. You are required to conduct a pre-abatement site inspection on each property prior to starting work. If any impediments are discovered at the time of pre-abatement site verification or site inspection, you must report those to the department in the manner described later on. The next section details our requirements for the actual abatement and debris removal, transport, and disposal. So we strongly encourage everyone to read through this section intently. Section 5 speaks to discovery of new or additional materials or quantities. The abatement contractor will be required to remobilize and provide any supplemental inspection, sampling, and analysis on any additional material found. And the last section speaks to compensation and how we will process and approve of invoices. Do we have any questions regarding the scope of service? Hearing none, we'll move to Exhibit B. As stated previously, we do anticipate a number of vendors to be contracted under this RFP, and we intend to assign work on what we call a quick quote basis. And we've included in Exhibit B what a sample quick quote sheet may look like. We'll provide you with the address, parcel information, and the previously completed hazardous and regulated materials survey for a grouping of properties that we'll bundle together. And we'll request for each vendor to submit their line item costs for pre-abatement due diligence, abatement, post-abatement air monitoring, post-abatement verification, and the number of days to create kind of a rough schedule from the abatement start date to the post-abatement verification request date. Basically, how long you would anticipate completing the abatement. And it's important to note that the city will review this information and will assign work at its sole discretion. We'll likely assign work based on the reasonableness of your work plan, schedule, and price, your current and pending assignments, and available contract authority. In addition to your proposed pricing on the quick quote, we will request for you on tab 3 to enter your bid quantity information. For each property you're submitting your pricing on, we ask that you provide a description of the material you'll be removing, the survey quantity, and the quantity that you anticipate removing during the abatement. Do we have any questions on Exhibit B, the sample quick quote sheet? Moving on, Exhibit C is our data and our draft data and data documentation policy. This document will walk you through all the information we'll request that you provide, likely in our Salesforce system that we utilize to track assigned work. Moving on to Attachment A, These are the documents that we request be completed and included with your RFP proposal. Attachment A is our request for resumes or CVs of your leadership team. For each member of your identified leadership team, please provide a resume or CV that includes their current title, their work employment history, any professional licenses, accreditations, or certifications they have, and their education and training. The next document is attachment B, which is the staff roster for any employee that you feel may be completing work. If you're awarded a contract under this RFP, we ask that you provide their name, their residency information, whether they're a W-2 or 1099 worker, years of relevant experience, any CDL information they may have, their MIOSHA asbestos inspector accreditation, their MIOSHA asbestos worker accreditation, and their MIOSHA asbestos supervisor accreditation information. And this section is divided up into administrative, project managers, supervisors, laborers, and inspectors. As stated, it's important to note all laborers and supervisors must possess the required MIOSHA accreditations to perform abatement work within the state of Michigan, and we do require at minimum one inspector who's accredited through MIOSHA as well. Attachment D is your equipment list. We ask each vendor to provide the make, model, year, VIN, owned and or leased or rental information for their trucks or trailers that they may be utilizing throughout this contract. Under truck and trailers, we also request that you provide the make and model, year, and status for all air handlers that your company may be utilizing when performing abatement work under this contract. Tab 2 of this document will give you the ability to complete and fill out any information you have if you're leasing or renting any of your equipment, trucks, vehicles, or air handlers. Tab 3 will be for you to identify any trucking companies you may be utilizing under this work. In tab 4, it's important for you to note the disposal companies and landfills that you anticipate taking material to and disposing of at. Moving on to attachment D is your relevant experience sheet for planned residential. As stated earlier, you're required to provide 5 projects or complete a minimum of 20 residential planned abatements within the city of Detroit. In this section is where we ask that you provide more detail on that. We ask that you provide the project name or addresses where you completed the work, a description of the project, a summary of the client, of who you performed it for, your term of performance, start and completion date, and any the contract amount for how much you billed for that work. Attachment D2 is the same sheet for you to provide your planned commercial abatement experience. We did require each company to have completed at least 5 planned commercial abatements within the city of Detroit over the last 5 years. Attachment E is our fee schedule. This fee schedule will be used for the purpose of evaluating price under this RFP and for any price adjustments for any work completed under this contract if you're awarded. We ask that you provide your year 1, year 2, and year 3 hourly unit rates for pre-abatement due diligence, abatement mobilization, personnel for supervisor and laborers, waste disposal, and it's important to note this is per 40-yard container or per tire, post-abatement air monitoring per mobilization, and then post-abatement inspection and verification per site, whether it's a commercial or residential property. And finally, for any subcontracted services that may be assigned under this contract, what your percent markup is. And the final document is our citations, litigation, lawsuits, and legal proceeding document. We ask that you provide any citations or violations, any consent judgment or orders, any litigation, lawsuits, or legal proceedings that your company has received performing abatement work within the state of Michigan. And last but not least is our general affidavit. We require all of our respondents to complete and fill out, stating they're an authorized representative of their company to submit a proposal under this RFP, and that you acknowledge that you understand the services that you're requesting. I know that was a lot, so I'm going to pause again. Does anybody have any questions regarding the attachments under this RFP or any of the exhibits? I'm hearing none. Tim Al-Arabi, does anyone have anything else they want to add regarding this RFP? No?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, well, I'll turn it back over to you, Jamila.
Okay, thank you, Nick. All right, so at this point, we're just gonna open up the floor for questions and answers. So Tanya, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. That was a very good presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. And just please know that this, like it's been recorded. The recording is going to be shared. So if there was something that you might have missed or just want to listen to again, you'll be able to do that. It should be shared either tomorrow or Thursday at the latest. But we want to thank you for attending. I want to thank the rest of for CDD for attending, and Eric. And that's it. So we're done within 30 minutes. So that was pretty awesome. So we look forward to receiving proposals, and just keep in mind that question deadline is next Tuesday by 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in case you do think of anything, Tanya, okay? So thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, I think it's just us. Oh, they're gone now too.
I'm muted.